The latest developments in the Middle East have shown signs that both sides are putting conditions on each other in order to reach a deal. The United States and Iran are still demonstrating their strength, each trying to gain leverage before any agreement is signed. In the past, President Donald Trump has been known to boast about what he sees as a huge victory over Iran's military forces. For its part, Iran has not acknowledged any military weakness. This is a classic standoff, one side claiming victory, the other refusing to admit defeat. According to the Iranian National News Agency, President Trump stated that Iran has been defeated militarily, though he acknowledged that the country may not admit defeat. He added that he believes Tehran has finally understood his position as he is dealing directly with the Iranian leadership. But understanding does not equal agreement, and as we will see, the gap between the two sides remains wide. Part 1. Trump's Warning. President Trump also issued a clear warning. He said that Iran could either agree to a framework for peace talks or else the U.S. bombing campaign against Iran would resume. This comes after he suspended military operations aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Writing on social media, Trump stated that the war, which began on February 28th and has been in a ceasefire since April 7th, could end if Iran agrees to U.S. terms and allows commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. But he also warned that if Tehran does not agree, the escalation will continue at a higher level. This is the classic carrot and stick approach. The carrot, an end to the war and the reopening of the strait. The stick, renewed bombing and even greater military pressure. Trump's statement came after he suspended Operation Freedom, an effort launched on Monday to allow commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most vital oil shipping routes. Military leaders reported that some U.S. ships passed through the area safely during the operation. However, by late evening, Iran had resumed its attacks on commercial shipping and neighboring Gulf states. So much for a smooth passage. Part 2. Iran's silence. Tehran has not yet commented publicly on the latest developments. The Iranian leader, who has been seen as a key player in the peace talks so far, did not immediately respond. This silence is itself a signal. In diplomatic negotiations, silence often means one of two things, either careful deliberation or deliberate delay. Which one applies here remains to be seen. According to U.S. reports, the United States has sent a 14-point proposal to Iran. This is a framework agreement aimed at ending the current Gulf crisis and reopening talks on Iran's nuclear program and regional tensions. However, the full content of the proposal has not been made public. Several reports have indicated that Washington and Tehran are discussing a memorandum of understanding, a document that could become the basis for a future comprehensive agreement. Part 3. The main points of negotiation. Let me walk you through the key points that are reportedly being discussed. Point 1. Ceasefire and regional operations. The first point involves a ceasefire between the United States and Iran, as well as regional operations that have beneficial relations with Israel. This is a delicate issue because Israel is Iran's sworn enemy. Any agreement that benefits Israel will be a hard sell to the Iranian public. Point 2. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The second point focuses on reopening the Strait of Hormuz after Iran partially closed it during the crisis. This is arguably the most urgent issue because the strait carries approximately 20% of the world's oil. Global energy markets are watching this point more closely than any other. Point 3. Suspending Iran's nuclear program. The third point is a proposal to temporarily suspend or halt Iran's nuclear program. According to sources, the United States initially proposed that Iran suspend its uranium enrichment for 20 years. Iran proposed only 5 years. Currently, the two sides are negotiating an approximately 15-year time frame. Point 4. Removing the uranium stockpile. The next point is the removal of Iran's large stockpile of uranium, which could become a major bargaining chip for Tehran if an agreement is reached. Where this uranium would go and who would control it remain open questions. Point 5. Sanctions and frozen assets. There are also talks about easing sanctions and releasing Iranian assets that have been frozen in the region. For Iran, this is not just about money, it is about economic survival. For the U.S., it is about leverage. Point 6. A 30-day negotiation period. The media also reported that negotiators are discussing a 30-day negotiation period to move from a temporary ceasefire to a more permanent agreement. That is a short window for such complex issues, but deadlines have a way of concentrating the mind. Part 4. Unresolved issues. The sources also highlighted several key issues that remain unresolved in the U.S.-Iran talks. First, Iran's ballistic missile program. The United States wants limits on Iran's missile program. Iran sees its missiles as a legitimate means of self-defense. This is a fundamental disagreement that will not be easily resolved. Second, support for armed groups. Tehran's support for armed groups in the region, including Hezbollah and the Houthis, is another major sticking point. The U.S. and Israel view these groups as terrorist organizations. Iran sees them as allies and instruments of its regional influence. Third, civilian nuclear capability. The third issue is whether Iran can maintain a nuclear weapons capability for civilian purposes. The U.S. insists on a purely civilian program with no weapons potential. Iran insists on its right to enrich uranium for peaceful uses under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Fourth, long-term monitoring and verification. Finally, there is the question of a long-term monitoring and verification mechanism for nuclear activities. Even if an agreement is reached, how will either side know that the other is complying? Trust is in short supply, so verification becomes critical. Many officials and analysts say this is the most recent attempt between Washington and Tehran to find a diplomatic solution since the last regional war erupted. Global markets have also been volatile, with oil prices falling on hopes that the Strait of Hormuz could be reopened to international trade. Part 5. Threats on both sides. So far, although both sides are in the negotiation phase, they are still exchanging a series of threats. This is the paradox of the current moment: talking while threatening, negotiating while preparing for war. According to Iranian state TV, the deputy head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' Naval Political Affairs Department warned that Iran's enemies cannot predict the extent of Iran's intelligence capabilities or how it will respond to any new aggression. He stated that any potential attack would be met with a strategy that goes beyond the enemy's reach. He also claimed that the United States had failed in its main goals against Iran, which included toppling the country's Islamic institutions, seizing its vast territory, and controlling the strategic Strait of Hormuz. These are not small failures. If true, they represent a major strategic setback for Washington. The official also said that efforts aimed at weakening Iran's Islamic institutions were thwarted by the appointment of Meknes as leader of the Islamic Revolution after the death of his father, Ali Khamenei. In other words, Iran's succession process has been smoother than the U.S. anticipated, and the regime remains intact. Part 6. The War and its Aftermath. The United States and Israel are accused of launching a final offensive against Iran from February 28th to April 7th. On the last day of that offensive, President Trump declared a unilateral ceasefire. Weeks later, Iran responded with a series of strikes, measures that rattled global energy markets. Among those measures, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz to both its enemies and its allies. It then tightened control of the waterway after Washington was accused of imposing a blockade on Iranian naval vessels. Iran later refused to return to talks after the closure. But now there has been a shift. The blockade was lifted on Wednesday. Trump also announced that he was suspending what he called Project Freedom, a plan widely touted as aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz by force. That suspension is significant. It suggests that the U.S. is willing to try diplomacy before resorting to military action to force the strait open. Part 7. Iran's statement on safe passage. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy issued a statement saying that travel through the Strait of Hormuz is now safe and secure. According to the statement, this follows what Iran described as a reduction in the threat of aggression and the implementation of a new protocol. A statement posted on the official website on Wednesday said, As the threat of aggressors has been reduced and new protocols have been implemented, safe and stable passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be ensured. The Iranian Navy also thanked the captains and owners of ships operating in the Gulf and the Gulf of Oman for following the instructions. This is an important detail. It suggests that Iran is not simply making a unilateral declaration, it is engaging with the maritime community and asking for cooperation. Conclusion: a fragile moment. Let me bring this together. We have two adversaries who have been at war since February 28th. We have a ceasefire that has held barely since April 7th. We have a 14-point American proposal and an ongoing negotiation over a memorandum of understanding. We have unresolved issues: missiles, armed groups, nuclear enrichment, and verification. We have threats coming from both sides even as they sit at the negotiating table. We have global markets holding their breath, waiting for news. And we have a temporary reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, not yet permanent, but a sign that perhaps both sides see value in avoiding a wider war. The next few days will be critical. Will the negotiators bridge the gap between 5 years and 20 years on uranium enrichment? Will Iran agree to verifiable limits on its missile program? Will the U.S. offer meaningful sanctions relief? And most importantly, will both sides keep their fingers off the trigger long enough to find out? No one knows the answers yet. But one thing is certain: the world is watching, and the consequences of failure are too terrible to contemplate. We will continue to follow this story as it develops. Thank you for watching.